My name is Admasu from Agaw Democratic Movement. I'm going to read the press release of our agreement. By the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Force, November 2021, Washington, D.C. At the outset, we, the Federalist and Confederalist Forces of Ethiopia, are pleased to announce the establishment of a front, the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces. This front is composed of forces fighting against the genocidal regime in Ethiopia. Up until 2018, Ethiopia was regarded by many as a symbol of stability in the ever turbulent region, the Horn of Africa. In unfortunate turn of events, what had unfolded in Ethiopia since 2018 was catastrophe, to say the least. Despite the widespread popular aspiration for the reform and stability, Ethiopia under Abiy Ahmed instead has plunged into theater for the ethnic cleansing and genocide. 3 million internally displaced, over 63,000 persons forced to cross border to neighboring country, state-sanctioned famine and violence, political assassinations, killings and detention of civilians in internment camps, imprisonment of political leaders, their followers and media personalities. Furthermore, once regarded as one of the fastest growing economy in Africa and beyond, is mired with rampant ethnic conflicts throughout the country. A record high number of people in need of emergency food assistance. The toll of genocidal war waged against its own people. The thriving economy has tanked, its foreign currency depleted with seemingly unlevel corruptions and misappropriations. Unfortunately, this becoming the features of the current Ethiopia. For the first time in the country's history, the regime in power has masterminded, conspired with an enemy and invited foreign forces to massacre and commit genocide on its own people, whilst decimating infrastructures and exploiting its resources. As it stands, Ethiopia has significantly deteriorated political, social and economic situations that is leading the country down a path of disintegration. Tensions throughout the country have been exacerbated by the autocratic rule of Abiy Ahmed, who aims to undermine the multinational federal structure and the constitution of Ethiopia to consolidate his power, thereby dragging Ethiopia to the verge of impulsion. We are witnessing an unstable Ethiopia on the verge of collapse with apparent negative consequences not only to itself but also with serious security implications to the region, to the larger East Africa, Red Sea, and the entire continent and beyond. It is a country of over 115 million. If allowed to fail, it shall be of grave concern to all our partners, potentially trigger alarm over the country's current trajectory. Is the regime's heavy defeat sustaining in all front, its both at the federal and regional evidently crumbling. As a response to the myriad of crises facing the various nations of the country and to reverse the harmful effects of Abiy Ahmed's autocratic rule to our peoples and beyond, we have recognized the urgent need to collaborate and join our forces towards a safe transition in the country. Hence, have established the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces. The United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces is aligned our collective will towards unified struggle for democracy, equality, and self-determination that benefits us all mutually. We have agreed, among other things, to establish a joint command responsible for all-round engagement and to work jointly towards an all-inclusive national dialogues and the establishment of transitional arrangement with the view of addressing the political crisis affecting the country. Additionally, we have agreed to synchronize and share our human and material resources as is required to expedite the struggle against the tyrannical regime and to jointly work in apprehending and bringing to justice those officials of the regime and its collaborators in the gross human rights violations and genocidal crimes. The United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Force sees this opportunity to urge all Ethiopians and all peace-loving people to categorically denounce repeated calls by the regime and its operatives for a wholesome war between the Ethiopian people. We further take this opportunity to critical occasions to condemn in the strong possible terms the concerted social media campaigns against the specific ethnic group, predominantly Tigray, and generally Benishangul Gumuz, Oromo, Command, and Agaw in Ethiopia. We reiterate our position that we do not recognize the illegally constituted government by the self-acclaimed Prosperity Party based on sham election to which the main opposition parties in Ethiopia were denied participation. Equally, the United Front of Ethiopian Federalist and Confederalist Forces categorically reject and shall consider it null any attempt to temper the existing constitution in any form or shape. Therefore, we call upon all the Federalist and Confederalist forces in Ethiopia to join the front, whose core goal is clearly stated and benefits the entire nations and peoples in Ethiopia. Finally, the front extends the highest appreciation and gratitude to Hibr Ethiopia for taking initiative to bring the parties to one platform. The members of this front are Afar Revolutionary Democratic Unity Front. I can repeat it. Afar Revolutionary Democratic Unity Front, Agaw Democratic Movement, Benishangul People's Liberation Movement, Gambela People's Liberation Army, Global Command People Right and Justice Movement, Command Democratic Party, Oromo Liberation Front, Oromo Liberation Army, Sidama National Liberation Front, Somali State Resistance, and Tigray People's Liberation Front. Thank you.
front also.
Front recognizing the problem and the widespread situation of the genocide. And the next step will be to reorganize ourselves and totally dismantle the existing government, either by force or by negotiation, whatever they wish, and then settle transitional government. That's my.
Could you tell us your name, sir?
My name is Mahmoud Uras. I'm from Somali States Force.
Mahmoud, M-A-H-M-O-U-D, and your last name, sir?
UGAS, U-G-A-S.
And sir, you said that it would be the aim is to totally dismantle by diplomacy or by force. Could you talk a little bit more about the lengths of force that this group is willing or prepared to launch? What does that mean, force?
Well, by force means if the government doesn't negotiate and accept the international community and the fronts are offering, then we definitely use any kind of force that we can dismantle. And it's already being outrooted from where they were. So there's no federal arm, and the whole community in 110 million is with these groups you see, and things will be smoothly going on. There will not be any force at all.
I'm sorry, you just said there will not be force, or there will be force?
Well, the current situation in Ethiopia is so weak.
Yeah.
They don't have federal arms, and the struggle has been going on for the last 1 year, and there's no way they can fight against the front, because 110 million people abused are supporting the group.
Maybe I should compliment. Definitely.
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Berhane, B-E-R-H-A-N-E. My second name is G-E-B-R-E, then C-H-R-I-S-T-O-S.
Your mask, sir.
Berhane Gabrek. Okay.
And who
Bra-
you're with?
It's okay. I think you can hear me.
And who you're with?
I'm from Tigray. As you know, the Abiy regime has conducted open door against the Ethiopian peoples. There is war in Tigray, which I don't have to describe. All of you, I'm sure, know how it is going. You know that there is war in Oromia, in Benishangul, in different parts of the country. Country is engulfed with civil war, launched mainly by the Abiy regime. So we all are forced to defend ourselves. There is genocide taking place, and we are trying to relieve our peoples and ourselves from genocide. This is what's taking place today. So definitely, peoples in Ethiopia are resisting. People in Ethiopia are in self-defense. This will continue until the regime accepts a peaceful path. As you all know, the world, the United States, the European Union, the nations, Africans, neighbors in the Horn of Africa, God, everybody tried to persuade Prime Minister Abiy to accept a peaceful path. As you all know, Ambassador Jeff Feltman has been traveling to Ethiopia many times, putting aside his efforts on phone conversations and so on. And all his appeals had been rejected and have been rejected. I don't know what outcome there will be, because he's still in Addis today. So what I can say is Abiy regime is pursuing the path of war. To this effect, definitely we in the United Front and others are trying to have a change in Ethiopia so that Ethiopia could stabilize and the region could stabilize.
May I ask a
Yes,
follow-up
please.
question? I'm with the New York Times. Is this group preparing to take Addis Ababa by force if necessary?
What we are going to do is definitely, where will be the limit? There is no limit for us, because the Abiy regime, as you all know, is trying to mobilize millions of peoples to fight against all of us. People, I'm not referring to armies. The intention is to mobilize millions of farmers to drive the nation into terrible bloodbath. So definitely we'll defend and will try to of Abiy government.
Can you clarify that all 9 of these groups have fighters and that will join forces on the battlefield to and the goal is to overthrow the government of Mr. Abiy Ahmed, or if you're ready to share power with him?
Well, he has consistently rejected, and as he has consistently waging war on our peoples, we're forced to defend ourselves and will continue until that day. Unfortunately, time is running out. There is no much time for him to deliver things that he should deliver before going to nations. He was supposed to lift blockades that he has put in some regions, not only in Tigray, but in other regions as well. He's been asked to allow humanitarian assistance. So many questions, as you might know. So he's refused that. And now I think there's not much time for him to deliver on this. And he has to deliver on this too. So definitely we'll try to have a change in Ethiopia before Ethiopia implodes and affects the region. Not only Ethiopia would be affected, but the region as a whole would be in disaster. So try to ameliorate this situation. We have to bring, the terrible, disastrous humanitarian situations that's building up in Ethiopia to its, to calm down or to bring it to certain limits.
The change without the current Prime Minister.
But
the change without the current Prime Minister.
Obviously.
And can you answer if all the 9 groups will join?
Yes.
Armed groups?
Yes, they do.
Can you also clarify the question from my colleague about you moving towards Addis? Do you have like a specific plan for this? You're saying,
as it was read in the statement, what we have is we are establishing a coordinating command that would coordinate our activities. So in different forums or sectors, in terms of military, in terms of political, in terms of everything, amongst our parties, we're cooperating in all areas with no limits.
Well, what kind of feedback have you gotten from the international community for this coordination so far?
The international community is so much worried with the stability of the region, the stability of Ethiopia, and the imminent implosion of Ethiopia. I think this is going to give relief to the Ethiopian people, to the region, and to the world. So the international community would be forthcoming and supportive of this, of peacefully, relatively bringing peace into Ethiopia. Our intention is to remove the regime and have an all-inclusive political process where every political party would take part in that process to form a transitional arrangement. With the transitional arrangement, we're hoping that major problems of Ethiopia would be addressed. So we are not here to form a government. We are here to form a united front, to coordinate our activities, so that we would bring a condition where all political parties, without any sort of exclusion, would come together and form a transitional arrangement. So we're not looking into establishing of our own government, but what we are trying to do is create the conditions for every political party to come to the process of forming a transitional arrangement.
but you've also just talked about your plans for a military offensive to that's not going to be very peaceful. So do you think the international community will throw its support behind that? That's just going to make the humanitarian situation and everything on the ground just much worse.
Yeah.
Do you think you will have support from international community on that?
No, what we are trying to do is, I think I have to explain this. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to bring an end to all the chaos that are taking place in Ethiopia. the blockade of humanitarian assistance, the expansion of the war, the suffering that our people are facing. We're trying to bring that to an end. The sooner the better, because it's imminent. We have a situation where it's dangerous, where Ethiopia could implode. So we have to bring that to an end. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to rescue the situation, create an atmosphere of ending this process peacefully through an all-inclusive political process.
I think, just to clarify.
Okay, last one, I guess.
Because I appreciate
Please.
that you want us to walk out of here understanding.
No.
The intent here. You're saying on the one hand that you want to create conditions for a peaceful transition of government, and on the other hand, if that must be done by force to make Prime Minister Abiy leave, you can understand why we're a little confused.
Okay, it's very clear. Let me try to explain myself. Well, ourselves, what we are trying to do is we are trying to bring an end to this terrible situation in Ethiopia, which is created single-handedly by the Abiy administration. So we begged so much for a peaceful ending this conflict, this disastrous humanitarian situation peacefully. The world appealed to, as I said, everybody. Abiy refused. So, and at the same time, he continued the war. He tried to mobilize millions of people into his army. He lost his army, the defense forces, but trying to mobilize people. He was importing billions and billions worth of armaments from different countries, as you all know. So we couldn't see an end to this terrible situation. So we are forced to curb this. That's what I'm trying to say. Because the world couldn't do it. Our appeal couldn't have an impact. And we're left with one option: changing the situation. Otherwise, we all be massacred. Because genocide is taking place in Ethiopia. So we have to stop it. We have no option. And the world has said, as you all know, the world said, never again before. What is that never again in the 21st century? And it has to come to an end. So we're forced to act. But in acting, our all intention is to...
The U.S. approach here. Do you think they're wrong to even try to negotiate?
Please, your name and your affiliation.
Yeah. Okay, let's take out. My name is Okok. I'm representing Gambela People Liberation Army. We have come as a united front of Ethiopia Federalist and Confederalist forces with the aim to make an history in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has been centralized for years, and this is a reverse to that one. We need more devolution to the people of Ethiopia in order to stop the historical bloodshed in the country. I am from Gambela. We have been experiencing genocidal killings, not by the outsiders, but by the centralized Ethiopian regimes for years. Or I'm obliged to sign for our freedom, with the sense that we are going to work for confederation for our state. That means we need maximum autonomy for our regions. Our priority for my region is security for our people. We need to secure people by our own defense forces. We are here as Federal Confederalists, Gambela and Benishango, our party is for confederation. Why we hoped for confederation for our region, especially for the southwest of Ethiopia? We have more than 30 tribes. We have been recognized as a citizen of the country. There is a racism in the country, systematic racism. The government, all of us, look for the resources, not the people. And we want to bring the priority to address the needs of our people. There is a big gap between poor and rich in the country. We want to bring that gap closer. So as a nation, we are fighting for equality. We need to respect humanity. Every human being has to be respected, despite of the colors. Ethiopia has been doing this, has been carried out a systematic racism in the country, almost like apartheid in South Africa. But this is a time where we need to recognize every human being in the country. The war that has been launched by the Tigrayan people, they didn't do it out of blue. They are defending their self-determination, not to go back to the previous regime that has been eliminating others and favoring very few people. So we appreciate what the Tigrayan has done in this war. We appreciate that they encourage our regions to fight for their own freedom. So this is a call for more devolution in the country. So everyone will exercise the freedom, the humanity, the equality, and we need to enjoy the security. We need to enjoy the freedom. For the Gambela people, for the Benishango people, for the South Omo people, I think this will make an historical trend where we have people who have been crying before God for their own freedom. They've been killed like dogs. They've been segregated. The resources have been plundered by the predatory governments. This is a time for them to enjoy their development with freedom. So the war that has been launched in the Tigray is not only for the Tigray. We are going to work to free our people, whole nation. So it should be uploaded by all the 83 tribes in the country, in Ethiopia. Our message for that one, for the Ethiopians. You don't need to fight for the government that centralized the system, that bring back the domination in the country in the past. They should not fight for Abiy, because Abiy is centralizing the country. We are going in opposite way. We are defending the existing constitution. In that constitution, there is an article that says succession is, self-determination up to successions. But Abiy is going to abolish that Article 39. We want to improve that Article 39 to make it a reality in the life of people. So our message to Ethiopians, you don't need to fight for the government, then they bring you back to the slavery. That bring you back to domination, to benefit the few. This is a freedom for all of you, 33 tribes in Ethiopia. We are calling you to unite with us so we can enjoy freedom in our country. Thank you.
Sir, you're with what organization at that point? Is that your message today?
Yeah, our message to Biden, we are Ethiopian fighting to bring real democracy in the country. So United States is a very good country for a democracy, and democracy has been born in this country. Since we are fighting for real democracy in Ethiopia, I think the Biden government has to unite with us. They have to stand behind us. They have to support us in every direction that we go. There is more to do to bring what we want to a reality. So we call the American government to stand with us so we can bring real change in the country. We will bring peace to Ethiopia and stop this bloodshedding all the years.
ጤና ይስጥልኝ። እንኳን ይሄ ድምጽ ህዝብ ትግራይ ሚዲያችን ነው። ለተመልካቾቻችን ራስዎን ቢያስተዋውቁልኝና የትኛው ግንባር ወክለው እንደመጡም በዚሁ ቢገልጹልኝ።
እሺ፣ አድማሱ ጸጋዬ ይባላለሁ። አገው ዲሞክራቲክ ሙቭመንት ነው መወክለው።
እሺ፣ አመሰግናለሁ አቶ አድማሱ። እንግዲህ ጥያቄ ምንድነው ይሄ ግንባር ወይም ደግሞ የኢትዮጵያ ፌደራሊስትና ኮንፈደራሊስት ሃይሎች ግንባር ጥምረት ነው የሚለው ስሙን ለመሰየም እንደተስማማችሁ በዚህ አጭር ጊዜ ውስጥስ ይሄ ስምምነት ለመፈራረም የደረሳችሁበት ሁኔታ እንዴት ነበረ? ስብሰባውንስ እንዴት አገኙት?
አክቹአሊ አጭር ጊዜ ነው ግን ማለት አይቻልም። ብዙ ጊዜ ወስዶብናል። በአመታት የሚቆጠር ባይሆንም በዚህ በወራት ውስጥ ግን ብዙ ጊዜ ወስዶብናል። እንግዲህ እየተፈጠረ ያለው ሀገራችን ውስጥ እየተፈጠረ ያለው ሁኔታ በጣም አሳሳቢ በመሆኑ ተሰባስበን መነጋገር እንዳለብን በማመን ነው። ይህንንም ለመሰባሰብም ያገዘን ክብር ኢትዮጵያ የሚባል ሲቪክ ኦርጋናይዜሽን አለ እና በሱ አማካኝነት ተሰባስበን አንድ ላይ ተገናኝተን እዚህ ደረጃ ልንደርስ ችለናል። ስሙ ዩናይትድ ፍሮንት ኦፍ ኢትዮጵያን ፌደራሊስት ኤንድ ኮንፌደራሊስት ፎርስ ነው የሚለው። እንግዲህ አንድነት በአንድ ላይ ለመስራት ስላሰብን ነው ዩናይትድ የሚለውን አንድነት የሚለውን የፈጠርነው። እንግዲህ እዚህ ላይ እንደምታየው ፌደራሊስት የሚልም አለ፣ ኮንፌደራሊስት የሚልም አለ እና የፓርቲዎቹ ፍላጎት ነው ይሄ ፍላጎት ነው እና በዚህ አይነት ሁኔታ ነው እዚህ ደረጃ የደረስነው። ስለ ስብሰባው ጥሩ ነው። ስብሰባ ማድረግ ካሰብን ይህን ስብሰባ ማድረግ ካሰብን በጣም አጭር ጊዜ ነው እና በዚህ በአጭር ጊዜ ውስጥ ይህን ማድረጋችን ጥሩ ነው። የመጀመሪያ ፕሬስ ሪሊዝ ፕሬስ ኮንፈረንስ ነው፣ የመጀመሪያችን ነው። እንግዲህ የጎደሉ ካሉም እያየን እንግዲህ በልምድ የምናስተካክለው ይሆናል። ብቻ ግን እንደ ጀማሪነታችን በጣም ጥሩ ነው ብዬ ነው የምወስደው።
መልካም። ይሄ ግንባር ወይም ደግሞ ጥምረት ለወከሉት ማህበረሰብ ደግሞ ህዝብ ውጤታማነቱ ምን ያህል ሊሆን ይችላል ብለው ይገምታሉ?
እሱ ላይ 100% እርግጠኛ ነኝ። እንግዲህ ከዚህ በፊት አገዎች ከፖለቲካ ተገለው ነው የነበሩት። ከፖለቲካ መድረክ አገው ነኝ ብሎ መቅረብ አይችልም ነበር። የግድ አማራ ነኝ ማለት አለበት። በአማራ ፓርቲ በኩል ማለፍ አለበት ስለ አገዎች ጉዳይ ወደ ቴብል ለማምጣት። አሁን ቀጥታ አገው ነኝ ብዬ የመሳተፍ እድል አግኝቻለሁ። ኢትዮጵያ ህዝብ ማነው አገው ህዝብ ሙሉ በሙሉ ይሄንን መድረክ ተጠቃሚ ይሆናል። ወደፊት የሚወክለውን ሰው ይወክለኛል ያለው ሰው ቀጥታ በኢትዮጵያ ፖለቲካ ውስጥ ገብቶ መሳተፍ ይችላል። የህዝቡን ፍላጎት ማቅረብ ይችላል ኢትዮጵያ ብሔር ብሔረሰቦች ጋር። ስለዚህ ልዩነቱ በጣም አለ፣ ከእንደ ድሮ አይደለም። ስለዚህ ለወደፊትም በጋራ ሆነን እንግዲህ የሚሆነውን እናያለን ማለት ነው።
መልካም። ለአገው ህዝብ የሚያስተላልፉት ቋንቋ ካለ መልእክት ካለ በራሱ ቋንቋ ቢቻል።
እንግዲህ አገው ህዝብ እንደምታውቁት ሁለት ቋንቋ ይናገራል። አንዱ አገውኛ ነው፣ አንዱ አማርኛ ነው። ስለዚህ በሁለቱም ቋንቋ አስተላልፋለሁ።
መልካም
ወገኖቻችን አገዎች፣ ይሄ ታሪካዊ ቀን ነው ለኛ። ከ700 ዓመታት በኋላ ተመልሰን ወደ ፖለቲካ መድረክ የመጣንበት ቀን ነው። አገው ብለን አገውን ስም ይዘን ወደ ፖለቲካ መድረክ የቀረብንበት ቀን ነው። ስለዚህ ሁላችሁም ይህንን አፋኙን ኃይል ለማስወገድ የሚደረገው ትግል ውስጥ ሰራዊታችንን እንድትደግፉ አገው ዲሞክራሲያዊ ንቅናቄ ብሎ የሚታገል አለ ቲዲኤፍ ጋር አብሮ። ስለዚህ እነዚህን ይህን ፓርቲ ይህን ኃይል እንድትደግፉ ከጎናችን እንድትቆሙ ለወጣቶች በተለይ ጥሪ ያቀርባለሁ። በአገውኛ ደግሞ እንኳቱ ናማ ወላ አዋውካ አገውካ እኖጂ ላንግቲ ለጋሜታ ደስ ናቴ ናከገና መጀመሪያ እንደ መድረክ ዳ አሴቴ ሙስካሊንስ ነው እንገርክና ከነስ ታሪካዊ ገርከ ሴፍትንጋዊ ሰመንግስቶ አፈናንቴ መንግስቶ ወጌድ ሴፍትንጋው ኖይሱ ፓርቲ ዝኮ ኖይሱ ኃይል ዝኮ አኒ አገው ዲሞክራሲ ንቅናቄ ስተ አንዳ ተሳተፋካን ሁላ ወጣትከ በተለይሲ አንተ ተናና እሰ መንግስቶ ኢትዮጵያ ብሔር ብሔረሰብ ወጌድ ሳጋና ማትያው ስትግሎ ደገፍታንታ ተረዲ ሂሳብ።
መልካም አድማስ፣ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ሌላ ጊዜ እንገናኛለን።
እኔም አመሰግናለሁ።
መልካም እንግዲህ በመሆኑ እጅግ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ራስዎንና የወከሉትን ግንባር ለተመልካቾቻችን ቢገልጹልን።
እሺ፣ ስሜው ኮኩጁል ይባላል። የወከልኩት ግንባር ጋምቤላ ፒፕል ሊብሬሽን አርሚ ነው።
እሺ፣ መልካም አመሰግናለሁ። እዚህ የተገኛችሁት የዘጠኝ ግንባር ኃይሎች ጥምረት ስብሰባና የመፈራረም ሰነድ ላይ ነው። ስብሰባውን እንዴት አገኙት? ዓላማው ተደራሽነቱስ ምን ይሆናል ብለው ይጠብቃሉ?
ግንባር ወደዚህ ደረጃ ደርሶ መፈራረም ስለቻል ከፍተኛ ደስታ ነው የተሰማኝ። ግንባር መፍጠር ማለት እንደሚሰማኝ ኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ሰራች ነው የሚለው። ምክንያቱም ግንባር አብይ እያካሄደ ያለው ሪቨርስ የሚያደርግ ነው። አብይ የኢትዮጵያ መንግስት ሴንትራላይዝ ለማድረግ የሞከረ ነው። በብዙ መልኩ ታይቷል። የሱ የስትራቴጂ ራሱ ቪዥን መደመር ያለው ሴንትራላይዝ የሚያደርግ እንትን ነው። ግን የኢትዮጵያ ጥያቄ እሱ አይደለም። አሁን እያንዳንዱ ኢትዮጵያዊ የሚጠይቀው ጥያቄ አሁን ፍሪደም ነው። ዲሲዥን ሜኪንግ ፓወር ለህዝብ መሆን አለበት። ብዙ ጊዜ በእኛ አካባቢ ለምሳሌ ጋምቤላ ያለነው፣ ቤኒሻንጉል ያለነው ምንጮ ራሳችን በራሳችን ለማስተዳደር ነው። ግን እሱ ባለው ፌዴራሊዝም የተባለ እስከ ዛሬ ድረስ እሱ ቤኔፊት አላደረግንም። አዲስ አበባ ነው አብዛኛው አድሚኒስትሬሽን የሚፈጽመው። ከአዲስ አበባ ነው ህዝባችን የሚመሩ መሪዎች የሚሾሙት። ህዝቡን ራሱ በራሱ መሪ መርቶ አያውቅም። ባለፈው ጊዜ የተደረገው ምርጫ ራሱ ብዙ ተጨብርብረዋል እና እሱ የሚያሳየው ምንድን ነው? ኢትዮጵያ ከዚህ በፊት ሲጠቀምበት የነበረው ሴንትራላይዝ ሲስተም እንደገና ሊመልሰው ነው። ስለዚህ እሱ አደገኛ ነው ለህዝባችን። ምክንያቱም ብዙ ይገደላሉ፣ መሬታቸው ይወሰዳል፣ ድህነታቸው ከቀን ወደ ቀን እየጨመረ ነው የሚሄደው። ሌላ ባለጉልበተኛ መጥቶ ነው የኛ ሪሶርስ የሚጠቀሙ።
መልካም ለሰጡ ማብራሪያ እጅግ በጣም አድርጌ አመሰግናለሁ። እስኪ ለጋምቤላ ህዝብ የሚያስተላልፉት መልእክት ካለ በበለጠ ደግሞ በራሱ ቋንቋ ቢሆን አጠር አድርገው መልእክት ቢያስተላልፉልኝ።
ዶልማን ቻና ከበር ጀጋምቤላ ከጅራ ጀይማንም ግለሞ ከጆክ ከጀይማንም ግንገቦ ከቶም ከጀይ ግቤድ ማንም ጁን ከፐሩ ዱ ፍሪደም ለጀቤቲ ለጆ ፐሪ ngom ከጅራ ዲቸይ ታሪክ ማሪያታ ዋናንገቦ ኪግን ከፐነ ጋምቤላ ከቢኒሻንጉል ቹንግኔ ገና ኮንፌደሬሽን negi chungi ne gena independent state ne regi ne kari kari ne to manu bero ne nutchot kit firi gebet kita kum gebet ne chung ne Gambela ne jide ke tong ma mare kere Benishangul le jide ke tong ma mare kere me jeje po kore koro ke gon akomo gebet beta banyamo we ka disawo nagje ingop Korangata woke ya disawa kun ne bete chura chel pura korapan ne jipon gebere chan jigide ngom jami ge ben noti ngom ka ba uno the freedom jio jipo bu chan di che jipo gebedu bere ne gene refugee camp di che ne jimok bangin mi chami chon grol ki churi gebet to mana go kapere chung development maraka penetune ene cheng maya no bere ne ono pare ngommo no bere ne ono wore ngommo kede marane bere de woroto man be di cheng mare man teacher signature mara achiba gino kwa man be bi man roa ke per cheng man I signed for freedom. Man be freedom mar Gambela. Man be freedom mar with during one southwest debate. Moanem genu chara ke korkit. Moanem genu ranya. Kel kawani. Jigi dengom. Bangin malon kiti jigi. Wadaga mor. Okonyre ke japugo. De boze mo amanyo ke perne panye kargi wala. Ne wune ne karge chot gibe pi bot ko be je moanam jodi sawo jede ke je oronje bot mana pa freedom be man beru yi ngopu ne wunu pada ne ngeto jabo ne bang dano ma nyono pe so the chain November 5 2021 an historical event.
Welcome.
Mar freedom mara. So man be giranga be chudo. Man we ke Washington Jew. Ko de dano mako ne chungo ka kuma ne choy ne kede ke jeymoy. Abi leñman kele be perpaj ne changtu ne centralize. Ne chang na kuma ne changtu ne karika disaw. Wakin man timene tek ko bangje pen kunoko ne timene op de kara be tere go ne timene gin mo ko sign I signed for freedom.
Welcome. Thank you. በጣም አመሰግናለሁ ስለሰጡን ማብራሪያ። አምባሳደር ፍስሐ ለእንግዳ ሆኖ በመገኘቱ እጅግ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ዛሬ የዘጠኙ የጥምረት ግንባር ኃይሎች ስብሰባና የመፈራረም ውል ነበርና ስብሰባውን እንዴት አገኙት? እንዴትስ ይመለከቱታል?
እንግዲህ ይሄ ዛሬ የተደረገው የስምምነት ፌርማ ስነ ስርዓት በእኔ አስተያየት ባለፉት አመታት ካየኋቸው ትላልቅ ክስተቶች አንዱ ታሪካዊ የሚባል ነው። እነዚህ 9 ድርጅቶች በአሁኑ ሰዓት ፋሽስቲክ የሆነውን የአብይ መንግስትን ለመፋለም በትጥቅ ትግል ላይ ያሉ ናቸው በተለያየ ደረጃ። ስለዚህ የሰላምን ጥሪ ረግጦ የዓለም ህብረተሰብን ጥሪ አልሰማም ብሎ ጦርነቱን የቀጠለው የአብይ መንግስትን አንድም እስከ መጨረሻው ሰዓት ቢሆን በሰላም ካልሆነም ደግሞ በኃይል ገርስሶ የተሻለ ስርዓት የሽግግር ጊዜ ለማምጣት ይሄ አሁን የተከሰተው ጦርነት እስኪጠናቀቅ ድረስ አብረው እንዲሰሩ ከዛ በኋላ ደግሞ ሌሎች የሚያገባቸውን ሁሉ አጠቃለው የተሻለ ለዲሞክራሲ ለሰላም የሚሆን ስርዓት የሽግግር ስርዓትን ለመፍጠር የተደረገ ስምምነት ስለሆነ በእኔ አስተያየት ትልቅ ክስተትና ታሪካዊ ነው ብዬ ነው የማየው።
መልካም አምባሳደር፣ እንግዲህ የፌዴሬሽንና የፌዴራሊስትና የኮንፈደራሊስት ኃይሎች አንድ ላይ በመሆን ግቡ ምን ሊሆን ይችላል ብለን እንጠብቅ? ውጤታማስ ይሆናል ብለው ይገምታሉ?
አንደኛ ይህንን ጥምረት የመጀመሪያ ዓላማው አሁን አገሪቱ ያለችበትን ሁኔታ በዚሁ መልክ መቀጠል ስለሌለበት የአብይ ስርዓት እየፈረሰ ስለሆነ ሰራዊቱ ተመቷል። ስለሆነም ዝም ብሎ መጠበቅ ኢትዮጵያ ወደ ባትመለስበት ሌላ ሁኔታ ላይ መጨመር ስለሆነ እነዚህ የፈረሙት አካላት በትንሹ ሽግግሩ ምን መምሰል አለበት፣ የሽግግሩ ስርዓት ሁሉንም ያካተተ የተለያየ ፕሮግራም ያላቸው አካላትም ቢሆኑ አሁን ባለው ህገ መንግስት መሰረት የሽግግርን ዘመን ፍኖተ ካርታ ለማስቀመጥ ዛሬ ነው የተፈራረሙት። ስለዚህ እየተፋለሙ ስለሆነ እነሱ መጀመሪያ አሁን ያላቸውን የወታደር የማቴሪያል ሌላውንም ለማቀናጀት የተስማሙት ሁኔታው ሲከሰት በእነሱ ብቻ የሚፈጠር መንግስት አይኖርም። በእነሱ ብቻ የሚቀየስ የሽግግር ስርዓት አይኖርም። ሌሎችም ያልታጠቁ ታጥቀውንም በዚህ እስካሁን ድረስ ያልገቡ ካሉ የሚያካትት ነገር ግን ዝርዝሩ ምን ይመስላል፣ ምንድን ነው የሚያስቡት የሚባለው እንደምታውቀው ዛሬ ነው የተፈራረሙት። ዛሬ ጥምረቱ ግንባሩ እውን ሆኗል። ከነገ ጀምሮ ደግሞ ዝርዝር ምን እንደሚመስል ለኢትዮጵያ ህዝቦች ብሔርና ብሔረሰቦች በዝርዝር ያቀርባሉ ተብለን እንጠብቃለን።
መልካም አምባሳደር፣ በመጨረሻ ማስተላለፍ የሚፈልጉት መልእክት ካለ አታላሉ። እንግዲህ
አሁን ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ያለው ሁኔታ ዓለም ያወቀ ኢትዮጵያኖች ብቻ አይደለም የሚያውቁት። በትግራይ ህዝብ ላይ የተፈጠረው የዘር ማጥፋት ጦርነት ታቅዶ የሌላ ሀገር መንግስት ተጋብዞ በ21ኛው ክፍለ ዘመን ታይቶ የማይታወቅ መከራና ሰቆቃ በህዝባችን ላይ ወርዶ በዛው ታጥሮ እናጠፋዋለን የተባለውን ህዝብ እንኳንስ ሊጠፋ ጦርነቱ ሌሎቹንም እያካተተ እየሰፋ እየሄደ ነው። አሁን በ11ኛው ክፍለ ሰዓት ላይ እንገኛለን። የአብይ መንግስት አዲስ አበባን በሲቪሊያን ምሽጎ ለመከላከል ነው እንጂ ሌላ ዓላማ የለም። ይህንን መቀበል የለብንም፣ እንቀይረዋለን። የሆነ ተስፋ የሚታይበት ቀን ነው ሆኖ ያየሁት። የአንድ ወይም የሁለት ድርጅቶች ሳይሆን አሁንም አለን እያሉ ናቸው የኢትዮጵያ ብሔር ብሔረሰቦች፣ ሌሎችም ይጨመርበታል እና ሁላችንም ዛሬ የታየው ከነገ ጀምሮ ደግሞ ቀደም እንዳልኩት ዝርዝሩን የሚያሳዩ ከዚህ መከራና ችግር አልፈን የዲሞክራሲ የመግባባት ሁኔታ የምናይበት ስለሆነ በታላቅ ጉጉት ነው የምጠብቀው።
አመሰግናለሁ አምባሳደር ለሰጡኝ ሴት ታንክ ዩ ሶ ማች።
መቃንኪያ ኦዳ ተርቢ አኒ ዱቢ ማይድለ ዱኛ ወራነ ቢልሱማ ኦሮሞቲ አራ በከ ከነቲ ወልተ ኢንሰሃራ መለቴስኔ ወልተ ኢንሰከና ካዮንሳ ሞቱማ አባ ኢሬ አብይ አህመድ ኩፊስኔ ቦዳ ስርና ሀራዋ ኢጃሬ ሱመተ ኬኛፊ ኡመኒ ከኛከ ምርገሳ ኦቱ ኤገሙ ጅራቹ ደንደኡቲ ኦቱ ነጄፈሚን አከ ጅራቹ ደንደኡቲ ኦቱ ጆሌንሳ ኢነጄፈሚን ኦቱ ጆሌንሳ ግዴቲን በኮራናቲን ጌፈሚን አከ ጅራቹ ደንደኡቲ ብያ ከሲ ኢጃሩ ፍዳ ትደበሌ አከ ብይ ኬኛ ኦፊሳፍ ፍለቱ አከ ትጅራቹ ወርባድ ዮካን ወለቡማ ዮ ወርባድ ዮካን ብየ ፌደራሊስቲ ኬስ ኦጅራቹ ወርባድ አከ ፍለቹ ደንደው አንጎምሱ ከነዳ ካዮን ኬኝ ወልታይንሰ ከነ ወጅን ወሊገሌ ሞቱማን ኩን አከ ኩፉ ቀቡ ወሊገሌራ ከነረቶ ጀቹፊ የሮ ገባባቲ ነው አርጊቱ ኡመኒ ከኛሞ የሮ ከነቲ ከን ኢስንራ ኤገሙ ወራነ ኬስን ወጅን አበዳ ወቦ ወጅን አበዳ ባይ የሮ ባይ ሙርቴሳዳም ዴቢኔ ገረ ፉልድራቲ kanatti ilaallee gaabburra ammuma hojjennee bakka tokko ga'u wayya. Waraana keessan jabeessaa. Warra giddiitiin gara waraanatti fe'amtanii deemtanii abbaa irreef du'uurra uummata keessanii gidduu qabsaa taatanii kuftanii kuffiistanii kufuu wayya. Waraana keessan wajjin dhaabadhaa. Waraana keessanitti dabalamaa. Waraanni bilisummaa Oromoo raayyaa ittisa biyya Oromiyaa jedhama jechuu danda'ama. Ijaa ta'ee fi nu wajjin dhaabadhaa jechuun barbaada. Amma bilisummaan fagoo miti. Yeroo gabaabaatti bira keenya. Kanaafuu ibbatti dhamana galatoma. So the current situation in Ethiopia has brought us together to fight a very brutal dictatorship, to fight a system that attempts to erase us of our identities, and a system that targets entire ethnic groups. It has brought us together to bring this down and take Ethiopia on its fourth transition in less than 50 years. And so with this chance that has been afforded to us, we hope to give future generations something they can look back to and feel proud of. And so today, I'm very proud to be standing with my distinguished comrades in this struggle for freedom and respect for self-determination, respect for human rights, and bringing that to our people. Yes.